Amy Slayton-Halterman has always been the sister who wore her heart on her sleeve. From the very first season of 1000, LB SISTRR, fans were introduced to a woman grappling not only with obesity, but with the emotional burdens of motherhood, divorce, and a chaotic personal life. Through tears, laughs, and cringe-worthy confessionals, Amy has been both the lovable underdog and the hot mess we couldn't stop watching. But recently, with news of her arrest making headlines and her seemingly cavalier response to the situation, many fans are left wondering, is Amy really taking this seriously? Let's be honest, Amy's arrest wasn't just some minor parking ticket. Whether it involved a domestic altercation, neglect concerns, or another troubling incident, it signified something deeper unraveling in her personal life. When someone with as much public scrutiny and past trauma as Amy gets arrested, the natural expectation is a moment of reckoning. A wake-up call. But if her recent social media activity and reality TV antics are any indication, Amy seems more concerned about her next TikTok than turning her life around. A brief look at the arrest. The details surrounding Amy's arrest were murky at first, but once they surfaced, they painted a disturbing picture. The charges may not have been the most severe, but in the context of Amy's increasingly erratic behavior over the past year, they struck a chord. This wasn't just about a bad day, it was a culmination of poor choices, impulsive actions, and perhaps a lack of accountability. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Of course, fans rallied around her in the beginning, many citing mental health struggles, postpartum pressures, and the unique stressors of being in the public eye. But sympathy only stretches so far when there's little evidence of remorse or change. If anything, Amy's behavior in the wake of her arrest has been, strangely flippant. The social media circus. Not long after the arrest, Amy was back on TikTok, giggling through silly filters, lip-syncing to trending sounds, and posting what many fans felt were inappropriate jokes. Instead of addressing the situation head-on or even taking a brief hiatus to reflect, she seemed to double down on her quirky persona. Some might argue this is just her coping mechanism, humor as a shield. But when you're a mother of 2 young boys and a public figure with a history of instability, laughing it off doesn't cut it. There's a difference between resilience and denial. Unfortunately, Amy's online presence lately leans more toward the latter. And let's talk about her YouTube channel. Once a platform where she'd vulnerably share her journey, it's now scattered with random content, often with little coherence or direction. It feels like Amy is adrift, clinging to the comfort of old habits rather than facing the uncomfortable truths of her current life. Where's the accountability? What fans expected and arguably needed was a real sit-down. Not necessarily a tearful apology tour, but a raw, honest admission that she made a mistake and was working on herself. Even Tammy, whose past behavior has often been more volatile, has shown remarkable growth in recent seasons. Her weight loss, improved mental health, and newfound relationship stability are evidence of someone genuinely trying to better themselves. Amy, on the other hand, seems stuck. Still messy. Still impulsive. Still playing the victim instead of acknowledging her role in the chaos. Arrests don't just happen to people, especially those with children. They're the result of choices, many of which can be prevented with self-awareness and effort. Has she made any changes? From the outside looking in, the answer appears to be, not really. There have been no major lifestyle changes, no new therapy updates, no public statements indicating growth or change. Her living situation remains unstable, her parenting is still under scrutiny, and her romantic entanglements post-divorce are, frankly, concerning. If Amy is working on herself behind the scenes, she's doing a good job of hiding it. But that's the thing with reality TV, your audience only knows what you show them. And what Amy's showing right now is someone trying to brush past consequences instead of growing from them. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Even small steps like enrolling in parenting classes, taking a social media break, or working with a coach would go a long way in demonstrating she's taking her life seriously. But those signs just aren't there. Motherhood and responsibility. What makes this situation even more heartbreaking is the involvement of her two young children, Gage and Glenn. Amy has always professed to be a devoted mother, and no one doubts her love for her kids. But love alone doesn't shield children from instability. They need structure, security, and a role model who can demonstrate emotional maturity. An arrest, especially one tied to domestic or behavioral concerns, sends a ripple effect through a family. Kids may not understand the details, but they absorb the tension. They feel the instability. And as much as Amy might want to shield them from the consequences, the best way to protect them is to show them what accountability and change look like. The show must go on, but should it? As 1000, LB SISTRR continues to film new seasons, the question must be asked, is the spotlight helping or hurting Amy? Reality TV thrives on drama, but there's a fine line between entertaining and exploitative. When someone's mental health is in question and their personal life is spiraling, continued filming can become more of a circus act than a healing platform. Maybe what Amy needs isn't another season, it's a season off. A chance to rebuild out of the spotlight, to get the help she needs without cameras following her every misstep. Unfortunately, the allure of fame, fans, and paychecks often outweighs the less glamorous road to recovery. There's still hope, but it's fading. Despite all the criticism, many fans still root for Amy. That's the paradox of reality TV. We get attached to flawed people. We see ourselves in their struggles. And Amy's early seasons showed a woman with immense potential, a fighter who overcame obesity to start a family and leave a toxic relationship. That woman is still in there somewhere. She's just buried under poor choices and social media distractions. The window for change isn't closed, but it is narrowing. The longer she refuses to take her arrest seriously, the more likely she is to lose the things she fought so hard to gain, her children, her fans, and perhaps even her own self-worth. Final thoughts. Amy's journey has always been a roller coaster, but her recent arrest marks a turning point. Whether she chooses to see it as a wake-up call or just another bump in the road will define the next chapter of her life. Right now, it doesn't look like she's taking it seriously. And that's not just disappointing, it's dangerous. Not only for her own future, but for the two little boys counting on her to be better. Fans don't expect perfection. They just want effort, honesty, growth. The Amy we met in season 1 had that spark. It's time for her to find it again, before the show and her real life spiral beyond repair. Subscribe the channel to get such videos.